Hello, Joe.
Okay. Let's see. Well, can everybody hear me okay?
Coming through loud and clear.
That's
Yeah.
good. All righty. Well, I guess we can get started. Got a couple of different things today. Um, as you know, I'm a stock market follower, and I've been involved in the Cycles organization for over 30 years. And I just couldn't hold back today. I got to talk about the stock market and how Cycles is saying a lot of things differently than the folks on CNBC. And don't listen to them. They're just trying to churn the market and make more commissions and steer you down the wrong track. So some of it's true and some of it's totally baloney. So anyhow, let's get going. I hope we get folks to join in on our live chat, because I know we're getting a lot of folks on the YouTube side, and they're getting lazy. They don't want to, get out and hear, or they don't want to get out of their pajamas and be seen on TV or something like that. So they're just watching it and not participating. And we're getting down to the point where this is going. I just don't want to be just a Bob Zoom show. I just want to have you guys to participate in it, and start pounding on some doors around here to get folks to come on and participate. Normally we had about 12 to 15. Today we have 6, of which Lewis is making up for some of the residents aren't here, and it's not worthwhile to just do it for 3 or 4 people. So I'll get off my soapbox, but it's frustrating when try to do something and you throw a party and nobody shows. So,
Bob, I have a question, Bob.
Sure.
Do you, other than doing an email, do you do anything other than that and list what the topics are?
Well, I used to try to do a list of the agenda, detailed agenda, earlier in the week, but it's getting to be so much of a job that it cuts into my. I'm doing the planning of this thing all week, so I'm just trying to do a generic agenda. And then
Okay.
I'll fill in the blanks, fill in it. I usually do it today, this morning. And now I have a script that's 3 pages long. And this is how I try to keep myself straight, so I don't keep jumping around and saying ooh and ah and everything else. So I just said ooh and ah, I should do that. Let's go through the highlights of the week, and I'll try to jump over some of the things. I don't know how many of you folks went to the town hall this morning, but we had a really interesting session there. Before that, though, Wednesday we had a staff luncheon, and the food there was great. I don't know, they didn't do an awful lot, but they had, chicken and sausages and meatballs and noodles and different types of sauce. Oh, that was really great. I think it was so good that a lot of people didn't show up for dinner. It was, but I really think it was really nice. It's unfortunate though that the tables we still cluster together, and the residents are at one table and the staff is at another table, and we're not really doing the mixing like we should be. There's a little of that going on, but not an awful lot. We just got to get in there and find out, what's going on with their lives and get to know them a little better. But it was a good lunch. Today, the town hall, they recorded that, by the way, and if you go to the YouTube for Walnut Village, what is it now? Anyhow, the YouTubes are posted up there, and you can watch the minutes of the town hall, and just sort of like they don't do it concurrently. They'd probably lose half the people wouldn't show up for the town hall if they did it live. But anyhow, that's way of getting it. I'll cover some of the high points. The key one was when Debbie got up and started talking about COVID, and it's really getting serious. There's a surge up in Northern California, and it's hitting the communities, the COVA communities that we just merged with. And she said something about they had 34 cases. I'm not sure if it's at one facility or multiple facilities, but that's an awful lot of cases. And they were shipping some of our test kits up to there to help them out and everything else. Really going through a bad surge. And it sort of gives us the alert that, it could happen to us too. They're talking about in LA, a mask mandate possibly before the end of the month. If the numbers don't stop rising, and they're worried about that. But right now it's up to us to evaluate our own risks and use masks and distancing and all that kind of stuff. But if they come out and say you got to do it, we got to do it. We're lucky we're still COVID free, and as long as we are COVID free, we won't have to shut down all these other things. But Debbie mentioned that if we have multiple cases, then we'll have to start worrying about restricting dining, restricting all the activities, staying in our rooms a lot more for doing this and that. That's not fun. We're just trying to get out and become alive again, and don't want to have to go through this whole process again. So she's encouraging us to practice all these good safety habits, washing our hands and stuff like that. And we've got the temperature testing that's going to go on and everything else. She mentioned that they got 3 advisories from the Department of Social Services when they had a facility inspection this month. And I said, oh yeah, I remember seeing that report. Now, I don't know if you folks know that those reports are available, and you can get on distribution for them. I got on distribution for them a long time ago, and they email me when they have an inspection report for Walnut Village. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is the inspection report page. It's California Department of Social Services, CDSS, which is it's around here somewhere. But anyhow, you go to this. You just go to Department of Social Services, California, and then you can walk through the menu and you can find out all of the details here about. I think maybe if I go here to the home office, you can find out. This is Department of Social Services, and CDSS, California Department of Social Services. That's what it stands for. And it tells you all about this stuff, and you can do the different services about the different kinds of things they cover. And if we go back, you get the Walnut Village facility, which I wanted to follow. So I submitted my email to them, and they'll send me when they have updates. Okay, now this is just the header, and the reports are over here in this section. And just last month, we had 2 reports. And here's a report. It's talking about the people coming in, and they call it a residential elderly care for continued care facility. Used to be CCRC, now it's something else. And they talk about when they come in, and no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong report. It's an incident report. That's not. I'm getting the wrong thing. Okay, here's the report I was looking for. And they talk about people coming in, and they went through the screening, they did all this testing and everything else, the water, checking the bathrooms, and they said hand washing. They didn't have instructions in the facilities, so we're going to get some instructions to put in our facilities, which we already got, these little laminated thing about how to wash your hands, and they all kinds of little things like that. And then talked about the fountains and the licensed day care facility has to have internet and access so they can do real-time video conferencing and stuff like that. So that's the report. It doesn't really tell you an awful lot, but you can go back and look at all the other ones, and there was different complaints and everything else a long time ago. And we haven't had any citations. These are the different inspections the last few years. There was a complaint a long time ago about somebody having some problems, and they left the facility. They weren't very cooperative as a patient, and so forth. And so you can go through all of that. So this is it's a good thing to know about, but it's only so much information there. So let's stop that. But the whole idea was to become more aware of the things that we should do to be safe for COVID. Okay, Judy, you had your hand up.
Yes, I would like to just correct one thing you said. We're called an RCFE, a retirement community
Care
for the
facility.
elderly, something like that.
Real
And
elderly.
the CCRC describes the kind of facility we live in, but the RCFE is a state designation that talks about facilities for the elderly. So there's 2 separate things, and they're not interchangeable.
Well, they called us that state name, the RC.
Yeah,
something.
we're RCFE. We have been from the beginning.
Oh, okay. I thought we were licensed at a CCRC.
No, we're not licensed to be a CCRC. We're licensed to be an RCFE.
Okay.
The CCRC is just a common name for what we live in,
Okay.
but it's not a licensing name. Okay.
Don, you had your hand up before Debbie did. So.
Well, that's okay. I just wanted to say that's a residential care facility for the frail and elderly.
Yeah.
But in that report you just showed, it showed type of facility, and it continues to show that as this is a continuing care facility, and it is not.
It's their report. Don't blame me.
I understand that, but it just seems to me that if we had a continuing care facility, we wouldn't have to be searching outside for skilled nurses.
Well, I don't know if when they shut the skilled nursing facility down, does that change our licensing?
No.
So you were always under Title 22, which is residential care facility for the elderly. This community was designated as a CCRC, a continuing care retirement community, because it did have the skilled nursing here on site. So we're no longer technically a CCRC. Well, let me back that up. We're still a CCRC because we offer a buy-in fee. Or an entrance fee option. And CCRC is just a designation of an RCFE where you actually you pay your entrance fee and you receive a certain amount back. If you're a true just RCFE, you're only paying a month-to-month fee. The designation though is we are under the umbrella of Title 22. which is for residential care facilities for the elderly. We are a CCRC because we have an entry fee option.
Entry fee option.
I think that's too much
Um,
information.
Debbie, no, I'm curious, does the fact that we have a memory care entitled us to be a CCRC? Because that's one of the other levels.
No, it is, so,
No.
most RCFEs have an assisted living and a separate secured memory care neighborhood.
Okay.
The thing that makes us a CCRC is the buy-in option, the entrance fee
Ah.
option, with some
Oh,
money coming
That's
back. So
interesting.
again, with a true RCFE, you're not going to get, you don't get an entry fee back. You just pay money, and you usually pay more than if you pay the entry fee and then you have a lower
Some people do.
than a true RCFE.
Thank you.
Okay.
Put yourself.
All righty. Well, anyhow, that report's available on the, if you want to subscribe to it on your, with an email and keep up with those reports. I can put the address on the chat if anyone wants to get it. Does anyone want to see that? I'll no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me see if I can find it now. I said I had it.
Bob, just a note, I have to leave at 3:55 for another meeting, but I wanted to jump
Okay.
on for a little bit.
Sure. Why don't I'll do that later. Go ahead, Debbie. Why don't you had a lot to say this morning, and I was trying to encapsulate it, but now that you're here.
Well, most of it is on the Friday memo, really kind of just reminders about COVID and where we are. The test to treat option, making sure that you know that if you, heaven forbid, test positive for COVID, there are antivirals that you can request from your physician. They can call it into a pharmacy. Again, that's a conversation with your doctor regarding any of your chronic or any issues that might be might counteraindicate with the antiviral. And again, keeping in mind that we have received, and we've seen one instance where somebody was on the Paxlovid and then got better and then got worse and tested positive. So we have to be cognizant of that. The one thing is, though, it's going to keep you out of the hospital, they say, or serious illness. Got a request today. I didn't make it in the meeting, but somebody mentioned that people, it's campaign season. People are leaving printed political materials out or what have you in the post, and please be cognizant to not do that. We talked about, and you're going to be receiving today, your laminated what to do in case of an emergency. So whether it be fire, earthquake, evacuation. So it's there for you. So when you're in panic mode and you're stressed out, you can look at your laminated card and it should give you kind of a step-by-step bullet point. And of course, we've got some new residents. We've had 4 new residents move in June. And behind me, you might be able to see there's a moving truck blocking my window for the new residents who are moving into 325, Alan and Carol Herzog. So I think you'll enjoy them. They seem to be very nice people. Other than that, again, just be cognizant of how we cannot have multiple cases of COVID because, again, we're having issues in our Northern California communities where they're having to shut down dining activities, that whole bailiwick again, and nobody wants to do that again. So I think that's pretty much it for me, unless you have questions.
Okay. Just to clarify, when we're walking outside from one building to the other building, or just taking a walk outside, what are the mask requirements?
So right now, the Department of Social Services is requiring masking for any indoor common area interactions. So if you're outside, you don't need to wear your mask.
Okay. So if we're just sitting at a table at the bistro, talking to friends, no mask required?
Correct.
Good. Okay. Clarified. Good.
Uh-huh. I had a question.
Yeah. Go ahead, Betsy.
On the temperatures, what time are we to call it in downstairs?
If you can call it in by 10 o'clock, At 10 o'clock, we all have different assignments. So we all have different days and different floors. At about 10:15, we go up to the front, gather the logs, the first floor log, the second floor log, the third floor log. And obviously we're going to skip you if you've already called it in, and Sabrina or
Well, I'm on the third floor. I called in my temperature this morning before about 9:30, 9:45. They were ringing my bell to take my temperature.
I'm sorry. That shouldn't have happened. I wonder if Sabrina just forgot to note, maybe the phone rang, somebody showed up. I apologize, Betsy.
I don't know. I guess the girl took it, so I don't know.
Okay.
You're
But
super
then
safe.
it was 9:45. It was 9:45 when he came to my apartment, so it wasn't even 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder who it was today.
It was Joel.
It was Joel. I'll talk to Joel. I think Joel gets here so early. He's on Joel time. I'll remind him.
Okay,
A question.
all right.
Are we going to be using the temperature testing for very long? I mean, is it worth for me to go out and spend $20 for a thermometer?
You know what? Honestly, we were hoping. We had a call with Department of Social Services on Wednesday. They had alluded in May to dropping the daily temperature screening on the June call. And again, the point is so many people are asymptomatic, but still test positive. And, you don't necessarily have to be running a temperature to be positive for COVID. However, I think they're erring on the side of safety because of the increase in COVID cases we're seeing in California. And so the requirement comes from California Department of Public Health, and they're super conservative and
Right.
careful. And so that's where DSS gets its instructions regarding our COVID screenings.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if it, would help the cause if, we encourage people to get their thermometers, but
If it wouldn't, if it's not going to break the bank, I would suggest doing it.
okay.
That's just easier on you. We're not chasing you down. We're not, knocking on
I
your door.
understand.
Yeah.
It's just trying to be a good citizen here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions for Debbie? All righty. Well,
So,
I have, by the way, posted this week's memo from Debbie on the Village News already. So you guys can. Well, in fact, I'm going to go. That's going to be my next step, is to go to the Village News updates, so you guys become a little more familiar with that. And it's a resource for you guys. I started at the beginning of the COVID when we lost communications, and before I even knew about Zoom. And let's see, where am I here? And so I'm trying to find all these notes here. Up to the wrong place there. So let's see. I want to go to. Let's do it this way. So this is the community update for this week, and it just talks about the same stuff Debbie just went through about the increases in prevention, hand washing, visitor badges, using Lyft for medical appointments and church services, the details on Father's Day, and upcoming dates. The also thing we can do is you can go over here to Meals and Menus. Come on. Meals and Menus, and you get the menus for the week. And Sunday night or Monday morning, I'll post the ones for the next week, and it has all the details for the lunches and the grab and goes and the updates about visitors and always available items. And here's the new baked beets and sweet potatoes and stuff. Over here in we have this project that Judy's announced, the sports shoes for juniors, and they have these young people from high school organize a charity for donating these shoes, mostly for young, small sizes, children, youth, and adults, but for different kinds of sports. And they're going to get them out through the Boys and Girls Club and Higher Ground and summer camp. So she's really excited about it. And you got to talk to your family and friends. And if you don't have any contacts to do that, you could actually, use cash, and she'll go out and buy some of these shoes, or go down to the Goodwill or something if they have them down there. I don't know, and try to fetch some more so we can get some more shoes. And she's trying to get a pile of shoes together by the end of the month, I guess, when they're going to collect them. So that's another one here. I've also talked about, I got Judy's earthquake calendar up here. So here's your earthquake calendar, Judy. So everyone can see that. And we have coming up July 13th, an orientation class. And July 20th, we have this walkie-talkie by floors and everything else. Judy put together a very good review of a detailed summary from our last report of drill. And it shows a lot of folks need help with walkie-talkies. And I was looking in YouTube to see how much instruction is available there. I mean, it's not very good, but there are some ideas there. I want to talk to Judy about that later. Anyhow, so we have other things you can see. Here's talking about scams. And I have a fun thing I want to show you about scams. So anyhow, they use the Village News. The more you use it, the more I can post on it, and it becomes a reference. You don't have to keep gobs and gobs of paper or keep track of it. And if I'm not doing things the right way, I can maybe redesign it and fix it for you.
Bob, how often do you update this?
I update it when I get a chance to. If I got some new stuff, I'll update it at least once a week. But if I come across an article like password managers, then I will say, hey, I'm going to talk about that maybe next week. But I'll maybe lay the ground for the information. I'd like to figure out how I could, give you a summary of the what's the new on the news, and I haven't figured that one out yet. That way you could have an abstract of whether it's worth looking at or not. So
Okay.
I'll work on that one. But if you say, hey, I'd like to know more about some of this stuff, because like the reports at Town Hall. It's kind of redundant for me to try to publish all that stuff when it's available on the YouTube that Ryan is going to put out from the video he took. So, but there was some interesting stuff they were talking about, like how they're working on the hot water issues. And they're finding the more they investigate, the more problems they find. And some of these things have existed since the beginning of time when they built this place, and they're trying to fix those things before they have to figure out how to fix the big pumps that they're going to have to buy, and solve the little problems. There's so many of them before they try to address a bigger problem of the newer pumps. So they're getting incremental support there. Let's see. what else is there about that? I guess I got covered Judy's thing. And oh, I know. When I was talking about password managers, I was talking to somebody, and they're getting frustrated now that they're using the computer and they're worried about passwords. And there's, there's more than I can remember. So they're writing them down on a piece of paper. Then when the piece of paper gets into 3 or 4 sheets, some of it gets lost, misplaced, not available. Or if you're in one room and you're using a portable computer in the other room, the paper's not available. Some people are putting the lists on the computer. Now that's sort of it's a help, but it's sort of a risk too, because if someone hacks into your computer, then they got all your passwords. So the idea of a password manager is it's like an application that stores the passwords to the individual sites. And all you have to remember is one password, how to get into the password manager, okay? Now, a lot of people, let me show you the briefing. It won't take too long. Where is it? Passwords. Oh, I don't know what to do with it now. Huh. I had all this stuff put together and I must have moved it. So I'll catch it later. Anyhow, some of it's on the web. I mean, on the Village News, and you can catch a little bit of it there. I was really want to look for is if people are interested in a class. Are they interested in just watching videos that are relevant to them, or just getting some web material that talk about the different reviews and the pros and cons of password managers? Because there's a zillion of them out there, and some of them are better than others. Some of them are free. Some of them are more complex. I use one called 1Password. It's nice because it covers the PCs, the laptop, I mean the iPads and the phones, and it's all one system. So if I'm on my phone and I'm trying to remember my password for my brokerage account, which I don't want to use on the laptop, I can use the same thing, and you use it. You log into the password manager, and it logs in to your brokerage account. And it's a highly sophisticated password that no one's going to be able to figure out easily. And that way, my financial things are a lot safer. Now, that's not true if I'm just logging into some goofy site that's just talking about Yahoo News or something like that. Anyhow, so if there's interest there, I'll try to follow up on that. So let me know if you're interested in that. Okay. I want to talk about the stock market today, but I'm going to cover some other subjects first, and then we'll choose the time available to cover the market. One of the things that's coming up is the supply chain problems that we've had have caused a big ripple in the retail markets. A few months ago, when we were in the middle of COVID, people were saying, I need to have this, I need to have that, and they couldn't get it because the ships were all anchored in LA Harbor, or they weren't being offloaded, and Joe Lefevre couldn't get the stuff delivered because they had no containers, and they had no trucks or no trailers, and no drivers, and the longshoremen were taking breaks and not working very well. So it caused a big ripple, and now people coming out of COVID, we have this high demand for stuff, and or we hope we have high demand, and this, if we're lucky, we'll be able to catch up with this stuff. But the newspapers are now saying the retailers are getting stuck because all the stuff they ordered a year ago or 6 months ago that took forever and ever and ever to get here is now coming here, and the warehouses are getting loaded or overloaded, and they don't know what to do. Target was reporting that they had a very low earnings report because their sales had dropped off, and they had all this inventory, and it was going to cost them a bunch. So big discounts are coming, and it's going to affect like Targets and Walmarts and Macy's and all the probably Home Depots and everybody else. And they're getting stuck with a lot of stuff that it may be out of season or out of cycle, or bulky stuff they don't want to stick in the warehouses, like patio furniture and sofas and stuff like that, for a lot of different furniture kind of stuff. And of course, all the sweatpants and the loungewear that people ordered that they were working at home or staying at home. And then, of course, everybody else that needed a computer or this or that or a new TV because they were stuck at home and they had want to be entertained. So those kinds of things are really coming into the mainstream. And according to the Wall Street Journal, prices should start dropping on a lot of these items around July 4th. In fact, Amazon is going to have its Prime Days on July 12th and 13th, a little bit later. But they're already, if you go to the Amazon site and go to Amazon Prime, if you're a subscriber to the Prime service, you can start getting these deals, and they have deals on every day. They're 50%, 60, 70% off on some of these things. And whether it's new earbuds or headphones or a vacuum cleaner or whatever it is, great deals. You just sign up for these things, and I don't think they process them for so many days. I don't know all the details of it, but you can go to the Amazon site and start seeing all these discounts already, because they have they're trying to churn the pot, because Amazon is overestimated the electronic commerce size, and now that COVID is starting to go down, they're stuck with all this stuff, and their warehouses are overloaded, and they were in a growth period, and they're now actually trying to force how to be conservative and slow down that growth with some layoffs of all things. So that's something to watch. And the other thing I want to talk a little bit about is some of you folks went through a problem like I went through a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't get the internet working. And the internet services were denied to, this is now not Wi-Fi, but where you take the wire and you plug in your device to the internet, whether it's a computer or a router or whatever. And when you try to boot up, you can't get the service. Sandy had been running around the last week or two. She had over 30 cases where people just couldn't get on the internet, and I was one of them. And apparently, I thought it was something that was wrong with the internet supplier, or maybe even Front Porch had something with the equipment here in the wide area network, all the switches and filters and everything else they have. It turned out that wasn't the case. The case was caused by someone here had hooked up a device, whether it's a router or a computer, I don't know the details. And it was sending out false IP addresses to everybody. So when you had a reboot, you got one of these bad addresses that didn't go anywhere because it was junk from that bad setup. So the plan now is when you get a new device that you're going to plug into the internet. Now this is not Wi-Fi. This is the internet itself. In the future, if you buy a new device, call Sandy and she will work with Front Porch to get you set up properly. There's by trying to do it yourself, you could dig yourself in a hole and make it bad for everybody else. And I can't understand myself that there aren't certain filters, or when they different bridge these different networks, that contamination and one noise in one network affects legs on the other side of the network. I can't understand that, but I'm just going to go along with what Sandy's recommended. That you go through them for the setups of these, so they are done right, and you follow the do's and you learn what the don'ts are. And that should make it good for everybody. So, Sandy was at the she was at the meeting this morning, and she had a little talk about scams. So I said, well, I got a little scam I want to talk about here today. So here's an interesting email that I got. Too good to be true. So if it's too good to be true, it's not true. Here's a copy of the internet email I got. It's from Warren Buffett. My name is Warren Edward Buffett, an American business magnate, investor, and philanthropist, chair and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, being considered one of the most successful investors in the world, with a net worth over $100 billion as of July 2022. I believe strongly in giving while living. I have one idea that never changed my mind, that you should use wealth to help people around the world, and I've decided to donate amount through our Sunshine Lady Humanitarian Grants Program to give out $35.5 million to randomly selected individuals. On receipt of this email, you should count yourself as one of the lucky individuals. Your email address has been selected online while searching at random. Kindly get back to me. And he wants our name, our home address, and our phone number, and all that kind of crap. So I said, well, this is kind of nice, Warren. You know,
Got a typo.
except
Warren-
I noticed a typo up here, and you guys noticed it too. Warren,
Well, and he
Here's another
said
one.
5 million instead of 35 million.
Right.
They wrote 5,500,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's another one. Yeah, I didn't read it until I was actually reading out loud. So those are clues that someone not as intelligent as Warren Buffett wrote this little email.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to, to get those little warm and fuzzy little memos like that, but don't follow it. Don't give out your information to that kind of stuff. So, okay, I want to talk. I want to go a little into the stock market now. If you guys find this is not of value to you, then let me know, and I shall, leave it alone. But it's let's see. We whoops, I shouldn't have done that yet. Let me go back here. I gotta share my screen before I do that. As you know, we've been in a up cycle for many, many years, and this is just showing the trend from 2020 up through 2022, actually. And the trend the trend line broke right around October of 2021. But as we went into COVID, we started seeing some nasty things. Actually, COVID was, when did COVID start? It was 2020.
2020.
2020, January 2020.
2020. Oh yeah. This is a COVID. Yeah, this is a COVID. This is a COVID drop, and before that, it was up for a long time. I'll cover that in a minute. But this is a break. So after we had the recovery from COVID, that trend broke just before the beginning of the year, and it's been going down ever since. Okay, and if you actually look over that same period in a percentage basis, since the bottom, since just before COVID, if that's a zero line, and it peaked out at 60% increase since 2020, and since the beginning of the year when it started turning down, it's gone from 60% of that total down to 22%, a 40% loss from this point here. So we're still ahead, but we've given up a lot of territory. Now you can analyze the prices versus time, but that really doesn't tell you where you're going to go. Now you can do these different type of measurements to look at, well, if it crosses this line, crosses that line, this is a good signal to buy or to sell or to take caution, but it doesn't really give you a forecast. So I use, I've been following these different kind of cycle models. This is one that is very interesting. It's based upon Hearst, who is one of the granddaddies in the 20s and 30s, I guess it was. I can't remember the details, but they added a lot of stuff by hand. And it shows how, this is an application now called Sentient Trader that is based upon his theories. It shows how the different kinds of cycle lengths combine and cause uneven trends in the market. And if you can sort of sort out the principal trend, the principal cycles, then you have a feeling of, well, if it happened so many months ago or weeks ago, that's going to happen again. So here's what happens. The program actually uses those different cycles. You can't really see them here, but these are the different cycle lengths. And it says we're going to have a nesting of lows right at here, and sure enough, it happened that way. And if I went back, I could show you some more. And now these parts are showing the likelihood of a low. This is a midpoint, and here's the tail, one tail end, here's the other tail end. Oop, hey. So what we're getting at is you can start seeing how these lows start to nest. And here's a big nest. Here's a very long cycle, and it's probable point. And here's a bunch of other ones. And if they start to nest up, that's going to be a new low, or they call troughs here. And so what we're saying, this is where we are right now in the early part of June, and we're, the markets say the low has been in. We're now going to go great guns. Well, the cycles forecast says no. We're going to have a new low here in July, and then it's going to bounce around and go sideways, and then we're going to have a really bad low in the November time frame. And you can't really read the numbers here, but we broke 3,000 or something this past week in the S&P, and this one's really saying we got a long ways to go before we see a bottom. This is probably about 3,200 or something like that. Really scary for people when you listen to the gurus on CNBC, and this is, oh, now's a good time to buy because the market's been down. It's a good time to buy on the dips. No, don't do that. Here's where the NASDAQ is going at. And this is a longer forecast from May up. Whoop, come on, back out, come on. From May up to March of next year. And a more significant lows here, the nesting of the lows here. It's going to look okay for a little while, and then it's going to fall out. And you notice a lot of it's happening right around election time too. So there's some politics maybe causing some of these things, but the cyclists don't care about politics. So anyhow, we have a negative forecast for the major markets. Now, this is just one theory, one model. Here's another model, but it's based upon Fibonacci numbers, and it shows the low in October based upon the projection of when these Fibonacci's show highs and lows and everything else. Here's another projection using correlation with bond prices. When the bond prices are going down, and when the bond prices are going up, the stock price is going up. But when they start going down and the bond prices are still going up, that shows a correction is going to happen. And sure enough, it happened. And then bond prices continue going down, and even though we had a little diversion here, they continue to go in a downtrend. These are the advanced declines of CEFs, which is it's a type of fund. But these prices typically have a follow bonds. And another one was showing how a correlation of the Dow to oil prices that are offset by 10 years, and showing how they have good trend following correspondence. And he's showing here how oil is, show how oil is going to go sideways and then drop. But this is in 2024 to 2026. So this is sort of saying it's a neutral market, but by 2024, it's really going to fall apart. And that's another election year too, so kind of crazy. So the point of it is, all of these use different theories, different models, but they all agree that there's some bad times ahead. Sometime in the fall, around Halloween time, they used to say, sell in May and go away and then come back on an October day or something like that. And that sounds reasonable here. We often like to talk about these in our different meetings. This is the first time we ever agreed that, oh my gosh, there's some nasty stuff going to happen in the future. So I just want to pass that on. If you want to get involved in it or something like that, you could listen to the experts. I have some videos, but it gets very technical very fast. So, any comments? I think I overwhelmed you guys.
No, I find that very helpful. It gives me some ideas of things that I need to do and should do and won't do. And yeah, it's good.
Okay. A lot of people are using services to manage their accounts, I'm sure. But it's good to have your own independent knowledge of what's going on. If they start saying, hey, let's go out and buy this stuff, it looks cheap now. And they're just trapping you into a bear market rally. So there's a lot of stuff going on about that. So let's see. We moving right down the pike here. We have I got to get this thing set up here for you. I have a few funnies for you. So we always, now we talk about the serious stuff, then we got to go have some fun too. So let's see, here we go. So here's Dilbert and Wally, and I'm putting you in charge of our testing of our new drug in a large-scale, randomized, controlled study, very scientific. And he says, sure, what result do you want to give me? What result do you want me to give you? And he says, oh, you're too perfect for this job. Thank you. So much for the randomized stuff. And here's our friendly dog talking to his next door neighbor. He says, so far I've taught them, let me out and feed me, but I'm still working on getting out of my chair. All righty. Now, this is one my brother-in-law showed me. He says, the CDC is now recommending you wear a face mask over your eyes when pumping gas to prevent heart attacks. And here's another mask joke. You finally found out why fish weren't biting. They're wearing a mask, yeah. And let's see. So Ryan was talking about getting out into the gym. So here's a little anti-acid saying, I'm finally realized the gym isn't for me. I went this morning, laid down on the mat to do some sit-ups. I woke myself up an hour later with an embarrassing loud fart. I should send that to Ryan. And then, of course, if you are getting your booster shots, there's this one. Don't worry, I've had both my shots and my booster. That's the kind of T-shirt we should wear around here, huh? All right. Okay, anybody got any closing comments here?
Thank you, Bob. You do a lot of great work to get this ready for us. Thank you.
Okay, well, I got let's see. I got another little one if you want to like an animal type of thing. Let's see how I can do this. I got that's wrong.
I'm also glad to welcome Joyce tonight. I'm glad she's
Oh, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yes. At least we got some people who care what's going on here. Okay, so this is about some animals, and they're trying to find a way to take a nap.
Oh, wow.
Well,
A dog snoring.
Weird.
there is what? What's he laying asleep?
Sleep standing up. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. What?
I used to have a cat that slept in a bowl like that too.
Oh.
We only had normal dogs.
And on a keyboard.
There we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, good, cool, cool.
Now he's all tucked in for the night. We must overwork our pets too much or something. All righty. Well, it's time for the puns of the day. So let's do that. Okay. All righty, this is our finale here. So what do the moon and the earth, why do the moon and the earth get along best during the summer?
They pass each other.
The earth finally warms up to him. Yeah, okay. All righty. I thought this was a cute one. Take him out, please. That was a request by the wife. And so the guy says, my wife told me to take the spider out instead of killing him. Went out, had a few drinks. Nice guy. He's a web designer.
Oh,
Which CIA agent is the best baker?
The one with most dough?
The spy. A spy.
Oh,
That's not very good. Yeah, but, okay.
that's fine. Oh,
What kind of dog loves to eat? A chow.
Oh,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, makes sense. All righty. When you die, what part of your body dies last? You never thought of that one before, yeah. The pupils, they dilate.
Late.
Dilate. They dilate. Yeah.
They die late.
Yes.
They die late.
They dilate, right.
Why did we have such instrument? Yeah.
Okay, here. Why did the astronauts' restaurant on the moon fail?
The prices are out of sight.
Yeah, they're way out of sight. Yeah, no, it's the food was good, but there was no atmosphere.
Oh.
Okay, whom do fish go to borrow money?
their broker?
The loan shark.
Loan shark.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, right.
Oh, should we go?
What do you get from an Alaskan cow?
bold milk.
Frosty
Frozen milk.
Freeze.
You're getting close.
Icicles.
Yeah.
Popsicles.
Frosty
Cold
cream.
cream.
cold cream. Oh.
All righty, and this one is a cute one too. You got to be up on your
Tigger.
kids' fables. Why did Tigger stick his head in the toilet?
Who's Tigger?
Oh,
Tigger?
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh's,
Why did Tigger stick?
Okay.
Yeah. Why did he stick his head in the toilet? He was looking for poo.
Oh, sure.
Okay, that's it, guys.
Boy.
I'm leaving
Thank you,
you.
Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
All righty. We'll get together
Thank
some
you,
other
Bob.
time. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.